Today, we visit Tintagel Castle on the north coast of Cornwall. Although not much remains of the castle, what's left is breathtaking. Join me as I explore these ancient ruins. We are here to find out what post-Roman life was like in Britain, and take a little look at the legend of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table.
Let's head to the castle.
Hello, we're now in the main. We're in the main courtyard now. Yeah, we're gonna have to cross the bridge. Not looking forward to it. So stay tuned. Oh dear. Yeah, I'll see you then. For those who may have visited Tintagel Castle before the incident, you may not recognise this for a wall that was originally has plummeted into the ocean before us. I am not one for heights, so I shall not go down there, but you know, the camera can probably see it a little bit better than me. Hopefully my camera doesn't fall into the ocean. If you come out here, you can see the main court, or the upper courtyard, where the horses would have been. And by looking at the rocks, we can see there's quite a lot of erosion as well to go with them. But we're going to now head over the bridge. I know I don't want to, but I'll keep my fingers crossed, my hands together, you know. And I shall see you on the bridge. And away we go. bridge folks who made it. So yeah, this is the next castle. Yeah, it was, you know, as impressive as they get, I guess.
Yes and no. It's not really our beach, but we've taken sort of responsibility.
Passing over there, you know. But yeah, we are now in the main castle. So it was actually constructed on a medieval fortification located on the peninsula of Tintagel, which is that way, roughly. It's been inhabited since around the late Roman era, and during the 5th and 7th century, communities flourished here. Well, that's what people believe. However, if you know your history, you would know that during the Dark Ages, there was not so much evidence on that sort of thing. We will be heading to the churchyard after this to have a look at something else. We'll get to that when we get to that. And evidence suggests that this castle and the last castle were actually an Iron Age fort, which, if you remember, 2 episodes ago we were at an Iron Age fort, and you can kind of see why, because obviously there are probably minerals here, plenty of ores for the Iron Age people to dig up. And then by the Middle Ages, unfortunately, the castle, the Great Hall specifically, which is the room we're stood in at the moment, had started to fall into ruin. You know, there are people over there on the cliff. I was thinking that if you can zoom in over there, there's actually people stood on the side of the cliff. Tell you now, that's not me. But you can definitely see why they built this castle, because it's in quite a commanding position. And then below there in the bay, which we'll get to later in the video, it's actually where it used to be an old trading port, and they were bringing goods from the Romans and the Mediterranean, that kind of area, and they would bring them in there in jars, and they would bring them up to the castle. And there was over 100 storerooms here for all sorts of bits and pieces that they may have got from the Mediterranean. So this was the Dark Age pub, and this is the, if you come over here a bit, if you look down there, we'll be going down there shortly, but you can see that you've got this path that kind of winds downwards, and that would have been the trade path where they would have brought the goods up to here, which is the pub. And these 3 sets of rooms would have been where they brewed the mead due to a nice spring that came down from the top of the island, or not island to them, but it would have sprinkled down in here potentially not any further this, and they would have collected that and made all their spirits and alcohol and stuff. It's quite a big climb. We've just found the natural spring. You can see the drips coming down here. And then it flows right down there where the pub is, just down there somewhere, and they would have collected this. Oh dear. Well, we'll see you at the top. A quick easy walk. Behind me stand some Dark Age buildings, which were then later used as the archaeologists' workman area, and that was in the 1930s. However, we're going back to the Dark Ages now, and if we just hop over this wall here, this or this, we don't know which one, but apparently it's an oven where they would stop cereal crops spoiling, and yeah, this is the north ruins apparently. So we're on the far end of the island now, and we'll continue our circular walk around and we'll see in a bit. Okay, so thanks to our plonker of a camera woman, History Noodle, she got the facts wrong. Apparently this is the oven, which makes a little bit more sense. So this is where they would have kept the cereal crops from spoiling back all those many moons ago, over a millennia ago. But it's a great walk nonetheless. In the background, we've got the next exhibit that we'll be going to shortly, but we found this small cave, so if you come on down here. It's quite, you know, short, but there's all these different graffitis and stuff, engravings on the floor. Like that one says 1965 there, so people have been coming here quite a long time. Probably 2020. Quite interesting to see. 80 to 68 there, so on and so forth. This is the statue of King Arthur stood on the edge of the cliff. I believe he looks the way he does to show that there's a fine line between legend and history, and they achieved this by making him distort in his appearance. Over in the distance there, that's the church we're heading to. This is basically the peak of the hill. The cave we were just in is over there. Statues and it's behind me is the chapel, not the church, just the chapel, and this was the actual, like, because this was a settlement originally, and this would have been where they worship rather than going to the mainland church, which is all the way over there. Let's continue on. Just thought I might stop and mention this one. This is the original medieval landing gate where the mead and, you know, the stuff from the Mediterranean would have come in. It came in down there, and it would have come in, it would have brought it up here, and then they would have gone up that path that you've just seen there. This is definitely a different altitude. You can definitely tell there's a different altitude to the rest of the castle. We've just spotted a seal in the ocean in the haven thing, Tintagel Haven. He's just bobbing up and down in the water there. Seems to find wildlife in every single video. Well, we're just waiting for the bridge to be reopened so we can get out of here. This is Florence's shelter. It's actually a scam. It was built in around about 1900, and it's where they would, where the Florence would sit. Like her mother and her grandmother before her, she acted as the castle guide, holding this position until age 82. There we go. A nugget of information for you. Unfortunately, I didn't bring my waterproof footwear, but you know, you can kind of get a gist of what you can't see my foot out there anyway, but next time I'll remember to bring my waterproof footwear. I don't think you understand how much wind is actually coming through here. It's actually really tall as well. If you look up there, you can see it goes really high. This is where Merlin resides. Well, supposedly anyway. Right. So, we are in Merlin's cave, and supposedly this is where he resided when he was down here in Cornwall. So what was the story supposedly about? Well, it's about the story of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. As many will know, it's been filmed God knows how many times. I'll put a picture of how many films there are. So there's hundreds of people. It's quite a famous story. But there is a fine line between legend and history. Now, there's no actual evidence that shows that King Arthur lived here or had anything to do with it. However, there is one bloke who supposedly said that he was here, and he was Jeff of Monmouth, and apparently, according to him, Arthur was conceived here, and this gained literary fame for him, which then leads on to the films that were made. I shall see you next time. So we're at the church on the hill. This is the newer one. So yeah, we were looking for a little stone that was left by the Romans, and it marks when they left Cornwall specifically. And on it, it says Imsuga Val Lickin. Okay, that's Latin, and that translates pretty much to Emperor Caesar Galerius Valerius Linnarius Linnaeus, and Linnaeus reigned from AD 308 to AD 324, and that's about when the Romans left England. So